Right now, as you listen to my voice, there's an arrow flying through the air. It was fired from about 2,400 years ago by a Greek philosopher named Zeno. And that arrow, it's still frozen, suspended between moments, neither moving nor still. What if I told you that every step you've ever taken, every breath you've ever drawn, every heartbeat that's kept you alive, might be nothing more than an elaborate illusion? Welcome to a place where time fractures, where reality bends, where one simple question about a flying arrow will make you question everything you thought you knew about existence itself. Picture ancient Greece 490 BCE. While armies clash and empires rise, there's a man in the city of Iliia who's discovered something far more dangerous than any sword or spear. His name is Zeno, and his weapon? Pure thought. Zeno wasn't interested in conquering lands. He wanted to conquer something far more fundamental, the very nature of reality. And he had a problem. People around him kept talking about motion as if it were real, as if things actually moved. But Zeno saw something they didn't. A crack in the foundation of existence. A flaw so deep, so fundamental, that it would shake the very ground beneath philosophy, mathematics, and physics for the next 2,500 years. So he created what we now call the paradoxes of Zeno. For weapons of pure logic designed to prove something impossible, that motion is an illusion. And the deadliest of these weapons? The arrow. Imagine an archer draws back his bowstring. The arrow is nocked, aimed at a target 50 yards away. He releases. The arrow flies. But does it? Zeno would have us examine this moment differently. Not as a continuous flow, but as an infinite series of snapshots. Frozen moments. Photographs of time. In the first snapshot, the arrow occupies a specific space. It's here, at this exact location. In the second snapshot, it occupies a different space. It's there. But here's what Zeno realized. In any single instant, in any individual moment of time, the arrow occupies exactly one position. It is exactly where it is. And if something occupies exactly one position at exactly one moment, then at that moment, it is not moving. It cannot be moving. Movement requires being in one place and then being in another place. But in a single instant, there is no then. There is only now. And if the arrow is not moving in the first instant, and not moving in the second instant, and not moving in any instant, then when exactly does it move? When does anything move? Think about what Zeno is really saying. Every moment of your life, every second that has ever passed, is like a single frame in an infinite movie. And in each frame, nothing moves. Right now, in this instant, you feel like you're listening to my voice in real time. But according to Zeno, this instant has no duration. It's a mathematical point. A frozen tableau where every atom, every photon, every quantum of existence is perfectly still. Your heart isn't beating. The blood isn't flowing through your veins. The neurons in your brain aren't firing. The Earth isn't rotating. The galaxies aren't expanding. Everything is a statue in the museum of eternity. And yet somehow, impossibly, between one frozen moment and the next, the entire universe rearranges itself, like a cosmic stop-motion animation played by an invisible hand. But who's playing the movie? And why do we experience it as smooth, continuous motion instead of the stuttering, frame-by-frame reality that logic seems to demand? For centuries, mathematicians thought they had Zeno figured out. It's simple, they said. Time isn't made of instants. It's continuous, smooth, like a flowing river, not a series of photographs. They invented calculus. They talked about limits and derivatives. They said that at any instant, an object doesn't just have a position, it has a velocity, an instantaneous rate of change. And for a while, this seemed to work. The arrow moves because at each instant, it has a velocity vector pointing it toward its destination. Motion isn't about being in different places at different times. It's about having the mathematical property of velocity at each moment. But wait, what exactly is an instantaneous velocity? How fast is something moving at a single moment in time? To have velocity, you need distance over time. But at a single instant, time equals zero. Distance equals zero. 0 divided by 0 equals undefined, meaningless. We've just pushed the paradox down one level, dressed it up in mathematical clothing, but the ghost is still there, haunting the basement of our equations. Zeno's arrow is still flying, still frozen, still impossible. But perhaps Zeno was more right than he could have imagined. In the early 20th century, physicists discovered something extraordinary. Reality itself is quantized, chopped up into discrete, indivisible units. There's a smallest possible distance, the Planck length. There's a smallest possible duration, the Planck time. Reality, at its most fundamental level, might actually be pixelated. Imagine the universe as a cosmic computer screen, where every pixel is 10 to the power of minus 35 meters across, updating every 10 to the power of minus 44 seconds. In between these updates, nothing happens. Nothing exists. The universe is literally frozen. And here's the strangest part. According to quantum mechanics, particles don't even have definite positions between measurements. They exist in probability clouds, mathematical ghosts that collapse into reality only when observed. So maybe Zeno's arrow doesn't exist between moments. Maybe it's recreated fresh at each instant, like a character in a video game that only exists when rendered on screen. Motion isn't smooth. It's not continuous. It's a series of quantum jumps, quantum leaps through a pixelated reality that only appears continuous because we're too big and too slow to see the gaps. But here's where it gets really strange. The now that you're experiencing as you listen to these words, that moment of present awareness, how long does it last? Neuroscientists have discovered that your brain doesn't process reality in real time. Every sight, sound, and sensation is delayed by milliseconds as your neurons fire and process information. Your present moment is actually a carefully constructed illusion, a composite memory of the very recent past. And the duration of this psychological present? About 3 seconds. 3 seconds of blended experience that your mind stitches together and calls now. So when you experience motion, when you see that arrow fly, you're not seeing it happen. You're seeing your brain's reconstruction of what it thinks happened, based on delayed, processed information from multiple moments in the past. The smooth, continuous motion you experience is a story your brain tells you. A beautiful lie to make sense of a universe that might actually be stuttering through existence one frozen frame at a time. Zeno's arrow isn't just a thought experiment. It's flying through your mind right now, carrying with it the unsettling possibility that everything you think you know about reality might be wrong. But perhaps we've been asking the wrong question. The real mystery isn't whether motion exists. It's why we experience it at all. Even if reality is made of frozen instants, even if motion is mathematically impossible, even if everything is an illusion, we still experience duration. We still feel the passage of time. We still watch arrows fly. Think about it. In a universe of frozen moments, why does it feel like something to be you? Why is there this continuous stream of consciousness, this felt sense of moving through time, this narrative voice in your head that experiences itself as persistent and real? Zeno thought he was disproving motion, but maybe he accidentally discovered something far more profound, the mystery of consciousness itself. The miracle that in a universe of isolated instants, there can still be experience, still be awareness, still be you. Maybe the real paradox isn't that motion is impossible. Maybe it's that in a universe where motion is impossible, someone is there to notice. So here we are, 2,400 years after Zeno fired his conceptual arrow into the heart of reality. And what have we discovered? We've learned that time might be quantized, that space might be pixelated, that consciousness might be a story we tell ourselves about a series of disconnected moments. We've learned that the smooth, continuous reality we experience might be the universe's most beautiful magic trick. But we've also learned something else. Even if motion is an illusion, it's an illusion so perfect, so convincing, so necessary for existence as we know it, that it might as well be real. The arrow flies because we see it fly. Time flows because we experience its flow. Reality moves because something in the universe is there to witness its movement and call it motion. Maybe Zeno was right. Maybe motion is impossible. Maybe every moment is frozen, isolated, mathematically static. But maybe that's not the end of the story. Maybe it's the beginning of the deepest mystery of all. How something impossible becomes not just possible, but inevitable. How consciousness emerges from frozen instants. How experience arises from mathematical abstractions. How you emerge from a universe that, by all logical rights, should contain nothing but empty, motionless points in space and time. So the next time you see something in motion, a bird in flight, leaves falling, water flowing, remember Zeno's arrow. Remember that what you're seeing might be impossible, a magic show performed by the universe itself. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the beauty isn't in solving the paradox. Maybe it's in living it, in being conscious witnesses to the impossible dance of existence. Somewhere in the space between frozen moments, in the gap between what logic demands and what experience provides, something impossible happens. Something we call life. Something we call consciousness. Something we call motion. And Zeno's arrow? It's still flying. Through ancient Greece, through mathematical equations, through quantum fields, through your mind right now. Forever frozen, forever moving, forever teaching us that the deepest truths about reality are the ones that refuse to make sense.